as a kid, I had a good sense of humor, but I was a very serious student. So people are like, oh, well, you're probably the class clown because I do stand-up now. It's like, no, far from it. I was in Catholic school, and I would have probably jumped off a bridge if they told me to because I was following their, orders. So the side of that, like at home, I would be kind of like a goofball, and I liked that. And as I got older, I started to write material, but it was never with the idea that it would see the light of day. It was like, oh, that's not a viable outlet. You don't do stand-up, you just don't. So as I got older and I got into improv and stand-up and I saw how great it was, I thought that it was like, I slowly uncovered things little by little. When I went for my master's at Marywood, and I'm grateful for my corporate job, they helped reimburse for that. When I was doing research at Marywood for my research class, that's when I really got into the research about laughter and humor. Because everyone knows the expression is the best medicine, but I don't know how much people realize it really is documented. Like, it's not just a nice thing to say. And when I did my research at Marywood, I was able to delve into that. Norman Cousins, who's probably the first person, he was the editor of the Saturday Review in the 60s, had like a life-threatening illness. He watched Candid Camera and Marx Brothers episodes and laughed. When he laughed really hard, he was able to sleep well without medicine. And think, this is really something that I could make a bigger part of my life. So when I finished my graduate work, that's actually when I started my business, Laugh to Live, in 2006, because I thought, I want to do this beyond just this course. I don't want to just do a class a semester and be done with it. I want this to be in my life, And so I did it part-time for the past 4 years until I left my day job. So.
Now, what kind of programs do you offer at Laugh to Live?
Sort of idea. But it's an interactive workshop, because the whole point is not just to tell them, well, here's why you should be laughing. Because, people hear it's like, yeah, I know I should laugh. But again, I like them to know the research, because we have so many people who are affected by heart disease, diabetes, or maybe it's their spouse or their parent. And the research shows that they're showing that people can help keep their hearts healthy and maybe even control their diabetes to some degree. So I like to tell them all that so they listen and say, okay, I get this now. And then there's a good interactive portion that's about a good 30 minutes where we get up and we actually do laughter yoga exercises. And when people hear exercises, I like to explain to them, you're not going to really sweat. You don't need your yoga mat. You don't need to wear, your spandex and headband. You're not going to need to do any of that stuff. It's real gentle. It's a lot of clapping. It's a lot about the breathing. It's literally making sounds that are ho-ho, ha-ha-ha, because it's about the breath in and out. But it's so gentle that it's the type of thing that anyone can do. Whether you're a child or a senior, if you're in a wheelchair, you don't have to stand up to even get benefits. You can clap, and if you're doing the breathing and laughing, you're still getting something from it.
Now, shouldn't they be wearing a goofy outfit so it makes it funnier?
Well, that's a good question. That is one way to go. People could be wearing something goofy to laugh. But when we do the laughter yoga, we try to differentiate. It's not about the humor. With the laughter yoga, we really want people to take it, I hate to say seriously, but seriously, to get the most out of the breathing. And a lot of times people when they're uncomfortable because it's new, they'll make the jokes, the side jokes, or because they feel uncomfortable. But I tell them to try not to do that, because it does take away from the experience. So yeah, so if they want to wear a goofy hat or whatever, I would never stop anyone, but that's not required, and I try to keep that out of the actual interaction, because really all they have to do if they give into it is just follow my lead. I'm just leading them in this. But one thing I will say is that every group I've done, even if you have people who are a little skeptical, there's no question in my mind that this does something good for them. When they walk away, you can't not, after laughing for 30 minutes, you can't not feel better. And even if you'll say, yeah, it's okay, there is stuff going on internally, even if you don't recognize it. But most people, I can tell in their faces, even the resistant ones, it's like, oh, okay, I feel a little bit better now, I'm not grumpy anymore, I don't feel stressed anymore.